At the Day of the Dead event, the members explained where Day of the Dead was celebrated, how it was celebrated, and what items were included in the altars. Also, at the end of the event, we played a Kahoot to check for our understanding of all the information that was just learned. And there are prizes if we won the Kahoot. Their culture is very different from ours, but except for how we go to their graves and leave flowers for our dead relatives.
So one of my preconceptions that I had before attending the event was that it was only a 1 day long celebration, but we actually learned that it is a very long celebration, that the majority of it takes place over 2 days, November 1st and November 2nd, but it does start as early as October 27th when all the pets and come back, and every single day has a different type of person or a different type of
entity, spirit,
that comes back. And so there is a day for pets, there is a day for those who were in horrific accidents for them to come back, there's a day for children, and then the last day on November 2nd is a day for everyone, and everyone is welcome and all the spirits come back home.
Yeah, so one of our other preconceptions was that Dia de los Muertos was only a celebration. But really we learned that it was a connection between the living and the dead. They explained that on that day, or those couple days, is when the lining between the spiritual realm and the real world is the thinnest. So they often represent that through a candle flickering. They have different altars where they put candles, and that's how they connect with the past ones that they love. So we learned that it was more of a connection with the spiritual world and not just a celebration.
Yeah, and then one of our last preconceptions that we had was the location in which this was celebrated. So generally, we thought it was mainly in South America, mostly Mexico, but we did learn it's celebrated in so many other places like Guatemala, Ireland, yeah, so that's completely out of what we thought. And then we also learned that Puerto Rico doesn't celebrate, which was kind of surprising. But yeah.
Another fun, interesting one is that Ecuador also celebrates it, but they have their own sort of twist on it to connect more to their Native American roots.
So in relation to Dia de los Muertos being celebrated in Ireland, another celebration of death in Ireland is Irish Wakes. And my family is very Irish, so we do that even now, and it's one last party to celebrate those who have passed on and kind of pushing them into their next life. And so along with Dia de los Muertos, we also have other celebrations like Irish Wakes, so those are kind of similar there.
So one difference in my culture, I grew up Catholic, and a lot of times in regards to death, it was a very negative thing. And often associated with mourning and sadness, but with Dia de los Muertos and their culture, we learned that it's a celebration between the dead and celebrating their life, and that they're in a better place now. So that was one difference that we found.
Another difference within my culture is that I'm very Swedish. My mother is from Sweden, and I thought it was very interesting how for Dia de los Muertos they use candles as a sort of guide for the dead to come back home, and that them flickering is showing that they're there and they're present. And the way that we use candles in Sweden is that on the darkest day of the year, which is called St. Lucia Day, all these girls dress up and they have candles with them, and they wear candle crowns to help bring light to the people. And so I just think it's really interesting that candles can represent so many different things in different situations.
In our engineering career, we're going to encounter a lot of different co-workers or bosses or customers, and it helps us to be able to understand our stakeholders in different situations. It allows us to better empathize in the design process, to know what people are going through and how people are living in different cultures, and being able to relate that to our solutions that we might come up with.
Yeah, and then going off of that, the benefits of experience was really immersing ourselves in other people's cultures and learning how to appreciate them, and learning how other people's views can affect the same thing that you see in different ways.
And so some of the skills and insights that we learned is that we really learned how to empathize and not only like appreciate other people's cultures, but listen to what they have to say and develop a deeper understanding for them, which is really important, as we mentioned before, when talking to stakeholders and customers and trying to figure out what will help suit their needs the best. And so it was just like really, it's also just really interesting and allowed me to see that I enjoy learning about other people's cultures and getting to know them on a deeper level.
At the event, there wasn't really much of a challenge in diversity because of the amount of people that were there with like the same cultural aspects, and also the people were very welcome. The members of the group were nice, and we went into the event with an open mind.
So when it comes to self-reflection and concluding on our experience, it does kind of face a challenge where we have to look at ourselves and compare ourselves, which for everyone isn't the easiest. So personally, the way I looked at it, I am a white woman in America, so obviously I don't face many challenges. But I looked more into my culture. We are very Irish, so all of my celebrations generally stem from Irish celebrations. So being able to learn not just about like mine and what we do, and also like the general celebrations in America, but also being able to look at another culture was very interesting to me.
Similar to that, as I mentioned earlier, my mom is from Sweden, and so a lot of traditions that I have are from Swedish culture, and I've grown up my whole life with trying to explain that to other people and them not understanding or judging me for something like that, and just making fun of sort of being a part of another culture outside of the American standard. And so I thought it was really interesting and almost comforting to be able to experience another culture, and students here who are like celebrate both, who are Americans but also have some Latinx culture to them. And it was just really, I think it was really nice and really eye-opening and beneficial to go. And I also thought it was really fun while we were there because not only they started out the event with the PowerPoint presentation that we got to watch, and then afterwards we did a Kahoot on it, and I happened to win 3rd place in the Kahoot. So I definitely like learned a lot, and it meant something to me to be there.
Yeah, so a little bit off the note of that Kahoot, I am a white man, and I think I've been privileged in a way where I live in a society that was made by people like me, for people like me, and I think a lot of times it's hard for me to think about the way that other people live in our society as it was created by men like me, and just being able to go to events like this and see how other people, how they struggle, how they come together, and how they live and thrive in a community or a culture that was not made with them in mind, was just a really cool thing to see and learn more about.
Going to the Day of the Dead event has helped me realize the differences and also similarities of our cultures. With my traditions from like European descent, there are definitely some differences between Hispanic culture and my culture, and there are also some similarities, including the ways that we honor our dead relatives. There are also some differences about that too. Growing up in America as a white male comes with being privileged, mainly because this society is made by, or was made by, mainly white males back in the past.
Yeah.